Welcome to the Barn Chats With. We're really excited to be filming our third series of To the Barn Chats With. In this series, I'm joined by young event rider Isabella Smith, and we will be chatting to our guests and picking their brains together. Hi, Isabella. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, really well, thank you. Thanks for joining us.
That's all right.
Can you tell us a little bit about, you've got two ponies, haven't you?
Yes, so I'm Isabella, for those of you that don't know, and I've got two ponies, so Pippin and JJ. I've been riding, actually, I started when I was 9.5, so I've been riding for 4 years now. And this season I've got JJ, and I've been super excited to start my journey out with him. Next season, I was really hoping to get my 100 MERs and to hopefully take him back up to PT, which would be an absolute amazing goal for me. And I'm really looking forward to trying to achieve that next season with him.
Awesome. So you're very busy and you're at school as well.
Yeah, busy at school as well with the horses.
Great. So today we are joined by Ibble Watson. And Isabella, if you'd like to introduce Ibble.
Yes, so today we're talking to Ibble Watson. Ibble is 17 and she has ridden for Great Britain in the FEI Pony Europeans, where she won Team Gold and Team Silver individual silver, sorry, which is absolutely awesome. And she competed in the team in 2019.
She's also an extremely talented skier, having lived in Morzine in 2010 and competed in numerous championships, achieving top results in fields of competitors far older than her. Hi, Ibble, how are you?
I'm really great, thank you. How are you?
Good, really well. Thanks so much for joining.
No worries, it's my pleasure.
So, hi, Ibble. Today, let's start off by introducing yourself and your team and tell us a little bit about your sponsors and your horses.
Well, obviously I did ponies last year. I had a really awesome little pony, my pride and joy. I live in Broadway, which is the Cotswolds. Yeah, I go to school. I go to boarding school, so I come home Tuesdays and Thursdays to ride. I'm very lucky to have two horses that I have to event. I've actually recently just got a new one. She's just come off she hasn't just come off the track. She didn't race, but she was going to. And she came on Saturday, which is really exciting.
Awesome. What's your plan with her?
We haven't really got a massive plan with her at the moment. We're just seeing what she's like. She doesn't know anything, so maybe buy and sell her on and keep doing that in terms of buying and selling, or maybe just see how she does in next season. Maybe campaign her along with my other two, which will be really exciting.
Awesome, that's really exciting. And how did you get into riding?
I've been riding before. I started riding before I could walk. My mum used to event, which is kind of in the blood. So yeah, mum used to event, and also when I lived in France, I was always going to her competitions, and I always remember going to Gatcombe when I was 2-3 years old, always being dragged along everywhere.
So we'll chat a bit about competing. What to you is the best part of competing?
I love going there and just seeing how the outcome will always happen, because you always know whether you're prepared or not. So it's always exciting seeing whether that works and whether what you've been working on has actually worked, or what you can actually work on in order to achieve what you want to achieve.
Sure.
So what tips do you have to ensure that your horse performs to the best of its ability on the day?
I think you've got to just make sure that they know all that they need to know, and do lots of work on stuff like that, and work jumps maybe a bit more than you would be on the event, or practice quite a lot your test and go through your test with your coach and do all you can do and mentally prepare. I don't know, I suppose it kind of happens on the day and it's just how you cope with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And match practice is a big part of it, and going out a lot and competing together, and the horse being used to the environment and everything must be a big factor as well, especially if you've got, like you say, less experienced or younger horses.
Yeah.
How much is an attitude a factor in winning, do you think?
You've got. I actually think it's quite a big factor because you've got to want to do it.
Yeah.
And take that from me firsthand. Like when I used to ski, when I actually wanted to do it, I was always doing really well. And then when I lost interest, I didn't really want to do it anymore, and it kind of showed in my results.
Oh, really? That's really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. And I just didn't really want to do it, and it kind of all. I started like giving up a little bit and not trying as hard. And I feel like with my riding, I actually really want to do it, so I always want to try, and I always want to do as best as I can.
That's fascinating.
Wow. So, what is your favourite event and why?
Oh, that's a really hard one. I loved obviously Striggle. That was a great event with great memories. Withington. I loved Withington. Again, amazing memories.
Memories at an event always help. If you've got on well there and you've got good results, it always makes you more, you like the place a lot more.
Yeah. And you've also got like events that you've also had like your problems at, and you're always a bit like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go back there.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience competing at the Pony Europeans? Because obviously it's such an amazing dream that so many young riders have, and to do it was incredible. So did you have like a focused training during the run up? Did you train with your team, or did you meet them out there?
We had a 3-day training course with John Quill, who's our team trainer.
Okay.
Yeah, that was really interesting. But all of us kind of had our like own individual like coaches and our individual goals. And no, we did one joint team training before we went out, and then obviously because I find it quite stressful having someone else having the input that's not like my mum, because obviously she teaches me, so I kind of stuck with the help of my mum through the whole of Pony Europeans, but everyone else found it really helpful to have John Quill. So I suppose it's just like you kind of used what you know and what you wanted to use, but it was like the most amazing experience ever. I'd love to relive it. Was
that your first time competing abroad?
No, I went to Mill Street in 2018.
Oh, okay.
That's also a great event.
Yeah, that's a lovely event.
No, but it's like it's so much different, because I remember when I went to Mill Street, I walked the course like maybe once or twice, but at Europeans you walk it like 5 times, and it's just like hardcore, and you've just got to focus. It's all focus. It's amazing.
It looked awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool, and it was so much fun, and everyone was so nice, and we were a great team.
Awesome. Great memories.
Yeah, the best.
So we'll chat a little bit about motivation. So what drives you to get up in the morning and go training every day? If it's raining, or if you're at school, like you say, you're at boarding school and you're like, oh, it's Tuesday night, I need to go home. What drives you to go and do that?
The fact that I get to see my horses. Like, I love them so much that I get so excited when I go home and see them. Like, I've got so many photos behind me that are literally just horses. And everyone's like, why aren't there anyone else on there? But no, I love getting up in the morning and just saying my horses, going to get them in, and then like always getting really excited about coming in. And it's like the relationship you have with your horse is just so exciting that I always love to be with them. And like, even if it's a rainy day, I'll just go and sit in the stable and have like a cuddle. It's just so great.
Sweet. That's so nice.
Yeah, it's so lovely.
Like training with your best friend.
Yeah, it literally is that. It's great.
So how does being an athlete make you a better person?
I feel like being an athlete makes you kind of a bit more like mentally stable, because you've got obviously no one else really knows what it's like to do what you do, so it's quite hard, and you've kind of got to like, I've had it a lot at school, and people are like, oh, riding's not a sport, and you're like, oh my god, please stop.
Yeah,
you kind of just got to learn how to like fight your corner as well. And I suppose being an athlete's also helped me. Like, I'm able to keep like a balanced diet, and I always want to do a bit of fitness and keep my fitness up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important as a rider to be fit, and that's you know, really being much more recognised now, especially by people outside of the equestrian world. They're like, oh, actually, you have to be really fit to be an event rider or a jockey or even a dressage rider. You've got to, the core strength is so important.
Yeah.
After a tough day, what do you say to yourself? You're driving back in the lorry after a tough day. How do you pick yourself up?
Oh god, I have to admit, I am one that will always sit in the front and after having a bad day and literally just hug my little lorry dog and just cry. No, you just got to keep strong. Like I've had plenty of bad days. Like I remember the hardest thing was I came home from Weston Park and I went home with Daisy Bathe, who won, and I like retired cross country because Disney had an infection. And I was so sad, and I kind of just wanted to be by myself at that time. But it's hard being with someone that she just won, and
so hard. But
it's so hard.
Yeah.
But it's rewarding for that person, and you feel so happy for them.
Yeah.
But I tell myself that like no matter what happens, I will improve, and I've just hit a little sticky point, and I just need to kind of move on through. And it's just
That's
like and it's just like a rut. Like I had a problem. Well, I didn't have a problem, but I went to Little Downham, and the going was so awful that my little bay horse just got kind of stuck in the mud, and I ended up having like fall down, and I was so sad about it.
No.
I was so sad. But it was just like a rut, and I just worked on it and came back out. And I think his next event was Bicton, and he jumped clear there, and it was just like a little rut that I overcame.
Exactly, and it's a learning process.
Yeah, it's all a learning process. If you don't make mistakes, then you'll never get anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what's been your biggest lesson in life?
My biggest lesson in life is definitely like don't take everything for granted, because obviously I took quite a lot. I'm quite appreciative of what I have, because obviously having a parent that's been there, done that, it's kind of, you hear like a lot of stories about like a tough day, and like
I gain a lot of your mum's experience straight away. You learn a lot from her and her experience, which is amazing, considering there's people out there who are eventing who aren't even, who, you know, have parents who've never ridden a horse. So it's such a It's
also really hard though, because she knows everything, and it's really hard all the time. But no, I've learned so much, and I've actually learned that I have to be actually happy that I do come home with a horse, because on so many instances she's come home without one, in a sense, and you've just got to be appreciative that you've got a horse at the end of the day, and it can't be that bad if you've still got your horse.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a good way to put it.
So we're now going to talk a little bit about young horses. So you've bred a couple of foals from Disney. Can you tell us a little bit about them, and what are your hopes and plans for them?
They're so naughty. No, we just thought like it was just after Weston Park, and she had a couple of weeks off because she had an infection, and me and my mum had been talking about it for a while, and we were like, okay, like there's no better time, and she actually happened to be in season as well, so we were like, okay, let's just go for it. So we used one of Shokamola's young stallions, he's called Shack Fly, so he's Shacking Blue and Sir Shutterfly, so it's really good breeding. And we put the first one we put Disney to was him, and then we went again before before Barbary. We went again before Barbary, just after Brand Hall, and we put that one to Shacking Blue, and that one's a right little character. She's so easy.
It's before Europeans.
Yeah.
Okay.
The really good thing was we did it. It was almost like good luck. We did it before Withington, and she went out and won Withington, and it was like, oh, maybe let's do it again. And then we did it for Tweezledown, and she went out and won Tweezledown as well. And it was like, oh, let's just keep it going. And we've got two out of Disney, and we've got one out of my mum's horse, which we actually call the witch. She's horrible, but she's really well bred, and we put her to a jumper that Olivier Philippart's rode, called Cabrier Z. And I want to event them all.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, so we're going to keep them. and maybe keep the line going. And as well as the 2 babies, we've got 2 homebreds that are 3 and 4 as well, which I've started riding.
Wow, so you've got loads to go at.
Yeah.
Really talented horses for the future. How exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Cool. So we'll talk about the current climate, because obviously 2020 wasn't the season that we thought that we were going to have. We were so lucky though to get the second half of it, which I didn't think in April that none of us really thought that we'd get that. We even got to watch Po 5-star, which was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So how did your training adjust to cope with the first lockdown? Did you keep your horses in work, or did you kind of give them a break? What did you do?
First lockdown honestly couldn't have come for a better time, because my little bay horse broke his hip in December last year, and him in lockdown was him coming back. So I actually spent most of lockdown just trying to like rehabilitate him, and it actually worked a dream, because I got to spend most of my time like riding and doing stuff. And also with my grey horse, I've gone through like a little bit of trouble with him in the last year, and I've really struggled with that. So I actually spent the whole of lockdown just going back to basics and going over from scratch, which I found really helpful, because it actually it made my results when I came out a lot better, which is really helpful.
That's so great that you utilised that time and really turned it into a positive time and worked on training and just going back to basics, which we just don't have time for during the season.
No, that's so true.
Yeah.
You forget about all the basics and you're like, okay, I've gone here, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here. And you actually don't have time to be like, okay, well, what could I do better?
Yeah, exactly. Let's look at the problem.
Yeah.
So you still managed to have a great season on your 2 horses. So can you tell us a little bit about that? And also, can you tell us a little bit about how you found competing under the restrictions, and if you think we can learn anything from the pandemic?
I think talking about like the pandemic, I think it's actually really helpful, because you're actually in and out and it's so much quicker, and you don't have to wait for all the prize giving and all the stuff that takes.
One has said this.
It's so true. And the warm-ups are a lot less like stressful and a lot less busy. And especially coming from me, I've got my little 7-year-old. He has major problems in the warm-up and will not cope with anyone coming towards him. Like, he just can't deal with it. So I think having less people in the warm-up has been so much more helpful. It's really appreciative. But no, I've had a great season, and I'm so happy with the outcome. And yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better outcome, especially on my bay horse, who I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I'm quite enjoying how you get times for like your warm up, and then when you go, and it just makes it easier for planning.
Yeah, it makes it so much easier.
And everyone's sticking to their times, and then you're getting the scores so quickly, because it's all digital now, so you get the scores quickly, and it's
you can like know your dressage test score before you're in for show jumping.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're now going to talk a little bit about your stable. So can you just tell us a bit about what your plans for your horses are over the winter months?
Well, over the winter months, I'm going to start, obviously after this little lockdown, I'm going to start taking them all jumping and start getting them out and getting back to grips of like everything, dressage, cross country. I think my main aim over the winter, especially on my horse Toto, is getting him jumping some bigger tracks, ready for hopefully coming out and doing a couple of intermediates next year, which will be really exciting. And just getting to grips of jumping some bigger tracks, because he's never really jumped. Like, the biggest track he's ever jumped was Bigton 2-star.
How old is he?
Sorry?
How old is he?
Oh, he's 7, but he broke his hip last year, so he hasn't done anything. He's done 4 novices.
So you've got some pretty good goals set for 2021.
Yeah, hopefully juniors, and if not, just crack on and see what happens. Maybe young riders the year after.
Awesome, that's really exciting.
Yeah, really exciting.
Can you tell us a little bit about your skiing career? Because I read that you used to ride your pony to school when you lived in Peru.
Yeah, I did. When I used to live there, I lived in a place called Morzine for about 5 years.
Wow.
and I had a little Exmoor pony, and I used to ride him to school every day.
That's so cool. Where did you leave him when you went to school?
Mum used to ride him back. It was great. And everyone used to always come out and see him. He was like a pet. He was like a class pet. And no, I did, obviously when I moved out there, I did loads of racing. And then I came back to England and joined the GB team after skiing for the French for a while. And then Mummy would take me skiing like every weekend, so we should drive out to France every weekend, which is dedication at the finest. So yeah, just dedication. And then I started doing a lot more pony stuff, and I joined the pony program and had done my first novice, and I actually thought I didn't really want to do it anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot. You've got to be really dedicated. Be competing at the level that you're competing, you've got to, throw your all into it, and be working with the horses all the time. So it's a lot then to be going off every weekend to ski. But that's an amazing experience that you were lucky enough to have. I didn't realize it's 5 years you lived there. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was great. And also like I got to go to all the French events with my mum, and it's actually so much different. Like you actually don't know like how different it is, and all the like we have, obviously because it's like eventing city here, the prime country, like we're actually really lucky that we have the events the way we run them, because in France it's so much different.
Oh really?
Yeah, like we always have bright fences here, and they don't really have many like bright fences over there. It depends really where you go. And I remember I did my first ever one-day event over there.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. We kept it at like a riding school, and they loved me riding like a couple of their little ponies. So I rode one of the ponies, and my mum did. I had a little 13 too called Freckles, and he did his first one-day event with my mum over there. And then I actually did my first proper little one-day event over here, and I got a 12 dressage.
Wow, that's unreal.
So good.
Yeah, it was a massive result, and I won by like 20 marks.
That's incredible. We've got some fan questions really quickly.
Yeah.
So we've got one. What tips for building confidence cross country and moving up the levels do you have?
I'd say take your time, because you've got to make sure you're ready, obviously. But also, if you don't give it a go, you'll never know what to work on. So at the same time, take your time to a certain extent, and then when you feel like you are ready, just give it a go, and what happens, and you can always move on from then. Great
advice. What's your biggest dream?
The Olympics one day. I'd love to do what my mum couldn't do, like get there. I'd love to make her proud and like do it for her, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, she'd be so proud.
Yeah.
So were you allowed to keep all the kit from Euros?
We got to keep our hats. We got 2 hats that we got to keep: hat silks, gloves, skins, all stuff like that. The only thing we didn't get to keep was our jackets. And that was it. But we got to keep everything else, which is really cool.
Yeah. What's the most rewarding part of producing your own horses?
Oof. I think it's this like satisfaction of seeing them do well. And I know obviously I have a lot of help from my mum, but I actually have produced like my bay horse myself, and I did his first event and stuff like that. And it's actually so amazing because I know him so well.
Yeah.
I can like, he's literally like, my mum said to someone at Bigton, like, no matter what happens, I do love him, and he is my pride and joy. And I just feel like it's so amazing just seeing how well they grow and how you develop together. I just find it so unbelievably rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got such a strong bond.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite discipline?
That's a hard one. I do love it. It actually depends on the horse, because with Toto, I love dressage, because obviously he's quite the dressage diva. But with my grey horse, I've struggled quite a lot in like dressage, like cross country and show jumping, because he's so strong. Mm-hmm. But it very much depends on the horse. Like I do love my show jumping, especially when I had Disney. I loved show jumping because I could just rely on her to do the best, and yeah, it's amazing.
So, do you have a lorry dog?
I actually do. It's like my best friend. I love her. We found her 2 years ago. She's called Frankie.
Oh,
Someone
cute.
dumped her on Christmas Eve.
Oh, how sad.
I know, and we found her, and we've kept her. And yeah, so naughty.
So cute. If you could pick one five-star horse to ride, who would it be and why?
I love Toledo. I love Toledo. He's like my favourite. Or London 52. I like London 52 as well.
Two pretty amazing horses. What about you, Bella? Who would you pick?
Oh, I don't really have a favourite, to be honest. I'd just be happy to ride any amazing horse experience. So we've now got some quick fire questions. So who inspired you as an athlete?
This is gonna sound really weird, but my mom.
Nice.
I've grown up with like always going to events and watching how it's done, and she's friends with all the big dogs, and like I was lucky enough, like Andrew watched my test at Bigton, and I got to hear from everyone else, and it's hearing the input from other people that kind of inspires you to be what you are.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so sweet. She'll be really shocked when she watches this. What's one word you'd use to describe yourself?
Oh dear. Oh god. I find myself quite funny.
So how old were you when you first started riding?
Oh, I could ride. I was sitting on a pony before I could walk. I'm pretty sure I even did like a few events before I was born in my mum's tummy.
Yeah.
I think she did a couple of 3 stars or something like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
What's the best piece of advice that you've been given?
That's so hard. I've had a lot of advice. My grandpa always used to tell me to just like take every day as it comes, and you can always, every day will get better, and you'll have a bad day and you'll have a good day, so just take every day as it comes and face the challenges that jump in front of you.
That's a really level way of looking at life, which is definitely what you need to be like if your life involves horses.
Yeah, because carnage happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who's your sporting hero?
Oh god, my mum. Yeah, she definitely is. She's a legend.
That's awesome. What's a strength of yours?
I'm quite brave. So no matter what you chuck me on, I will not give up. Like I actually speak, I'm quite like, I will do the best I can, and I will ride to my hardest and do what I can to do well. So I'm quite brave in that sense, and I'm quite brave cross country as well. It's just like a bit gung ho.
That's awesome. What's about a weakness?
I'm not patient at all, which I know you really need to be, and it's actually grown a lot since Ponies, because obviously I had produced my own pony, and I had to be really patient because she's not easy. And I learned that quite hard a couple of times when it just really didn't go my way and I wasn't patient. And if I was patient, it probably would have gone my way. So it's quite, yeah.
So what did you have for breakfast today?
What did I have for breakfast today? Oh god. I had a bowl of Cheerios for breakfast in between doing some homework that I'm pretty sure I was supposed to do yesterday.
What's your favourite film?
That is so hard.
Question.
Oh, my favourite film. I love any Disney film. I'm such a sucker for Disney.
Do you have a favourite meal?
I love pasta, like any type of pasta. Just chuck it at me and I'll eat it. Pasta.
Absolutely. Pasta and cheese and yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So yummy.
And last question, what do you prefer, badminton or burley?
That's hard. Probably badminton. I feel like that's everyone's dream, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Also, you get some wicked photos from badminton.
Cool. Well, Well, thank you so much, Ibble. It's been so great to meet you and to have a chat. And we really look forward to seeing how you go next season. Hopefully, COVID will be a thing of the past, and we'll be able to come and catch up with you at some events and take some photos of you and have a chat and everything.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
But have a great winter training. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us on To The Barn Chatsworth. It's been really, really great. And we'll hope to see you soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Isabella.
Bye. Thank you.